Hey guys, so these are my thoughts on The Unnoticeables by Robert Brockway. This is the first of a punk rock horror comedy trilogy called The Vicious Circuit, and its author is an editor for Cracked.com. This follows and switches back and forth between two different timelines and first-person POVs within those timelines. The first is a guy named Carrie. His story takes place in the punk rock scene of New York in 1977. He and his friends spend their lives going to concerts, making fun of one another, beating each other up, and ruminating on those punk kids that seem to be just a little too flawless in their ripped jeans, dyed hair, and music tastes. Carrie especially begins to become aware of these people who everyone else seems to be unaware of, and simultaneously that regular everyday punks have begun to disappear whenever those unnoticeables are around. More than 30 years later, we follow Caitlin in California of 2013. She's a waitress normally and a B-movie stunt double as often as she can, though that isn't very often lately. She's done her best to get all the work she can in that field. It's not to the point where she'd do anything, but she's really looking to make it further than she has. She has no clue how to navigate Hollywood, though, and when her best friend Jackie invites her to a party with some minor celebrities, she really doesn't feel like going. But Jackie convinces her, and at that party, Caitlin is introduced to an actor named Marco, the once teenage heartthrob star of a sitcom that she used to love when she was much younger. She notices the conversation is a little odd, though, and chalks it up to her own awkwardness and inability to make small talk with Hollywood types. When Jackie convinces Marco to give Caitlin a ride home, Marco's eccentricities seem more and more odd as the night goes on. She comes to realize that he's something Carrie would have called an empty one. As this is a step up from the Unnoticeables, the empty ones are more aware of themselves but void of all that makes someone human. They're made that way by the angels. These creatures, for lack of a better word, are made of light as bright as the sun and make it their mission to simplify people. They find what a person is and remove the bits they see as unneeded and unnecessary. Among the Unnoticeables, the empty ones and the angels are the tarmen, a byproduct of angel activity, a toxic black sludge that's a mix between sentient and dead that takes people and burns them into goo. Both Carrie and Caitlin, in their separate stories, must figure out what to do about these things as they seem unbeatable and relentless in their need to catch and make these two a part of what they've all become. The story itself is absolutely relentless. It's fast-paced, it's fun, and it's fairly well written. What stands out above all else is the characters, and we get to see both from first person, but they stand out as individuals really well. Read a couple sentences from one of them, and it's obvious who they are out of the two. And the minor characters, though they never really become too much more than what they are at face value, all had their own fairly unique voices and characterizations as well. But the two main characters were very well written. Love him or hate him, Carrie had such a strong voice and presence in every scene through the way that he's written. Call him a byproduct of the time period and of the scene he associates himself with, but he's a bit of a dick, to put it lightly, and he's a little bit mad as well. He's vulgar, he's chauvinistic, he's juvenile, he's all around ridiculous in every way possible. I thought he was absolutely hilarious most of the time. Caitlin is fairly confident but awkward, both self-assured in some of her abilities and self-conscious about other things. She's generally competent but has a brick wall named Marco that she just can't seem to get around or shake off. Both of these characters, Caitlin and Carrie, are both funny and they're both great. It's hard not to root for them despite their various ridiculousnesses. So much of who they are comes through the writing itself. Robert Brockway's got a great cadence, a great sense of humor, and creates urgency with his character interactions, reactions, the jokes, and with the creepy, dark creatures he has them all deal with. The story honestly never stops moving, and all of these things fit so perfectly within the story and within these time periods and within these settings that the blend of it all feels very natural and works as a staging for the plot quite well. There's still a lot of mystery surrounding the angels and the empty ones and the Unnoticeables, even by the end of this one, that it'll be exciting to get some answers in the next two books. This is such a gruesome, deeply troubling book, sprinkled with well-timed action and humor, which actually had me laughing out loud more than any other books that I've read recently. It's difficult to find a book that's legitimately funny, and so often, but I imagine that's only going to be true for certain people. Obviously, I'm one of those people, but I highly suggest going in with a grain of salt and seeing what it does for you. It's something that people who might be into a mix of the movies, SLC Punk, Dogma, and maybe anything with Seth Rogen in it might like. I quite enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it if those things sound interesting to you. I am going to be doing a review of The Empty Ones, which is the second book, as well, very soon, so go pick this first book up, read it, and then be sure to check out the second review for the next book and see if that's something that you want to continue on with. I've already read the second book and did quite enjoy that one as well, so I'm excited to talk about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments or anything to say about this book, I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you later with more.